everybody, it's your boy Gabey, and today I'm on a microphone. I'm trying out a microphone. Let me know how it sounds in the comments. I don't know how it sounds right now because I have to edit the footage, so hopefully it sounds good. We got a lot of work to do this week. Let's get to it. As I mentioned in the last episode, my stock fuel cell from the Thunder Roadster is no good. It's leaking fuel, stinking up my house, so it's gotta go.
I got to go!
In the deal of engines and spare parts I got with David, I also got a Legend car fuel cell, which is awesome, but it doesn't quite fit the cradle that the Thunder Roadster has. So I cut out some of the non-structural bracing to make my own fuel cell cradle. My goal with this cradle is to make it removable and expandable, so if I want to run a bigger tank, which I do want to run a bigger tank in the future to compete in longer races, I can do that really easily by unbolting it. I'm pretty pumped with how this came out. It bolts together really nicely, it's super strong, and it holds the fuel cell in there good, so I'm not going to be like sloshing fuel around. I'm pretty proud of this. This came out great. With the fuel cell stuff out of the way, let's add in the new catch can. So I found a good spot in it right in the front that is the perfect distance between the engine and the oil coolers. This is how I have to move the Roadster currently. The two rear tires hold no air at all, and the front tires hold air for about 10-15 minutes. So in order to move the car, I have to fill up the two fronts, jack up the rear, and drag it. I'm being very cautious with the engine on the engine hoist. I don't want a repeat of what happened last week.
Sorry, Fido, we're gonna have to drown you.
The drive shaft is really tight in this car. So before I get the engine into the motor mount slots, I'm going to throw a bolt in the drive shaft. With the drive shaft bolted up and everything lined up, it should go in easily. It doesn't. And why it doesn't is because you remember last week when I dropped my old engine back into the car? Well, alongside bending my steering rod, I also bent the motor mounts on this plate that holds it in. I had to pull the motor mount brace back out. This is the one that came off of David's car, which is great and fits the engine perfectly, but the holes don't line up because the Thunder Roadster frame is slightly different, I guess. This one is the one that originally came off of the car, and you can see this hole right here has been bored out a little bit to fit a little better. The issue with this is when I dropped the engine, it bent this plate and it doesn't fit in the slots over here. It doesn't fit in the slots of the engine. So now I need to splay these out a little bit to be able to make this work. I have some 2.5-inch pipe right here and a hammer. Put that in there just like that. Holds its spot. Then I'm gonna put it in the engine, release the pipe, and it should grab around the tabs that we need to grab, hopefully. I'm gonna give it just another make sure it's spread all the way up, and then I'll start tapping this out. There we go. With the motor mount fiasco now sorted, the engine is officially in the car, which is super exciting. It's time to attach my brand new oil lines to the feed and return area. One of these goes into the oil cooler and the other one goes into the catch can. From here I have a bit of a dilemma because I have to fill up the oil cooler and catch can with oil. It's a good idea to do it independently from starting the engine so you don't like oil starve the engine. So I came up with a plan. Now that the oil system is mostly together, I need, ow, you're so sharp. I need to fill the oil cooler and catch can with oil. So I came up with a apparatus. I have a funnel in a piece of tube, and I'm going to fill this part of the system and then fill the engine. And this should work because it works with fuel. This is like how they do those the fuel cans that are upside down. I'm using, oh, well, at least it's filling. It's using the Earth's 14.2 square inches of gravity to gravitize. Oh my gosh, dude. I'm so frustrated.
Number one bad man, no. Rule the session and no. Shake up the ground. When the boss come, them can't stick around. Number one bad man, no. Rule the session and no. Shake up the ground. When the boss come, them no. We are the number one bad man.
Speaking of oil, one really important thing for a system like this is to make sure I have oil pressure at all times. So I salvaged a T-fitting off of one of my spare engines and spliced in an oil pressure gauge. On my engine there's this block-off plate for the intake. I'm sure this works really good in a legend car, but because the Roadster has a pretty extensive body, I decided to modify it a little bit. I took out this plate and hit it with the angle grinder, and now it fits in there way better. I still might modify it a little bit more than this, but for right now, it's perfect. I originally was going to reuse the clutch master that came with the new engine, but it's hard-lined on there, and the hard line is just a little bit too short to comfortably fit. And the last thing you want to do with hardline is to crimp it, because that you're opening a whole world of trouble. You don't want to crimp your hardline. So I decided to use my existing master cylinder and steel braided line and attach that to the engine. Interesting fun fact while bleeding the system is you may notice that I'm covered in tattoos. I've been doing tattoos for a really long time, and I have a new tattoo on my forearm. I did my racing number, I did 47 on my forearm, and and throughout the process of bleeding the system, I got brake fluid in my brand new tattoo that was still healing. And I was so focused on building the car that I wasn't really focused on my skin melting off of my body. Hang on, let me come into frame. Hi. While I'm doing this voiceover, the 4 looks like I got this tattoo done, I don't know, 50 years ago, because it's all ripped off and awful looking now. But my 7, I got less brake fluid on that. It sucks, because it came out really good. I was really happy with it. If you look at the footage, you'll be like, wow, that looks really good, until you got a bunch of brake fluid in there. We covered a lot in today's episode, and I'm really happy with the work that was done. But man, this week was a challenge. I've been making videos for 20 years now, and I'm really good at making situations not look as stressful and awful as they actually are. But like this week, man, this week was a struggle. It's cooling down a little bit here, but even still, cooling down, working in the garage. At minimum, it's 108, 110 degrees. You're by yourself. Everything's sharp. Everything's heavy. And it's like, this week was a real challenge. But the engine is in, the fuel cell is in, all my oil lines are done, the catch can is done. Now all we have to do is wiring, which I actually enjoy wiring quite a bit. In the next episode, I'm hoping we will be able to at least turn over the new engine, maybe even get it to idle. The whole next episode is going to be wiring this thing, so get excited. Get excited for a lot of time lapses. Speaking of time lapses, if you enjoyed the music in this episode, it's all from my new album. It's called Music to Drive Fast To. I've been getting such a wonderful response from everyone. Everybody's been really enjoying the new album, so thank you so much for all the love and support on that. Search Gabe Smith, Music to Drive Fast To. It's out on every major platform. It should come right up. And let me know what you think. I'm super proud of it. So with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will see you on the next one. Hopefully we're running in the next one. Running on the next one would be pretty good.
Shake it just like